Good afternoon. It's July 17th, 2009, and I am here interviewing today Pastor William Perkins of Bethel AME Church. Okay, let's get started. Where were you born,
I was born in Waterloo, Iowa.
and where do you call home now?
Waterloo is still home. Waterloo and Cedar Rapids. I spend time in both places, being that I'm retired now.
All right, from like elementary through college, like where were your schools?
Okay. Elementary school, I went to Riverview School in Waterloo. From there, I went to Lowell. It was kind of like a middle school from up to sixth grade. And in junior high, I went to Sloan Wallace on the west side of Waterloo. And then we moved to the east side of Waterloo, and then I went to Logan Junior High School. From there, I went to East High, Waterloo East, and graduated from there in 1960. I went to college in Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri.
As you were growing up, like what did you do for entertainment?
We played a lot of sandlot, softball, baseball. We made slingshots and shot bottles, and we didn't have a lot to do, but that's the kind of thing we did. We also rode bikes. I had a paper route, and that was a part of my growing up, and so I did that.
How has the civil rights movement affected you?
It has made things. It has made things better. There are some things in the past that were kind of negative, but it seems like it has made things better, more accepted now. It seems like than in the past.
How was segregation like for you growing up? Like, what were your experiences?
Okay, when I was younger, we lived in a certain part of town, but there were other Caucasians that lived there too. However, it was a poor section in Waterloo. It was down by the river. Every year it flooded, and like I say, people with money they had the opportunity to move out, but we were kind of isolated there. I didn't know about other blacks in Waterloo until my mother died and we moved on the east side of Waterloo. I didn't know a lot about it at that time as far as segregated housing or anything like that, so I can't speak well to that. We lived where we lived, and I don't think we had the money to buy one of the more expensive homes at that time anyway. So we were kind of content to live there.
So like you didn't have like any like incidents with segregation when you were younger or growing up?
Yes, I did, James. Basically, it was more or less kind of like racism. When I worked at John Deere, I was terminated, and for no reason. I couldn't really see the reason. They were cutting back in their employment, and the day came for termination. At that time, they had people. They gave people the opportunity to sign up for severance pay, or to keep on working and then take your chances. But they had a way where they were reducing people, and the reduction that they made did not make sense. And I was out of the company. I was terminated for about a week. And the reason I say it didn't make sense is because some of the guys were still working who I trained, and they were still in there, and it was unfair. And the employment, the HR guy there had a reputation for being, kind of racist, even though they wouldn't come out and say that. But that was one of the kind of the worst experiences I had. I mean, I had a family. I had 9.5 years at John Deere, and then all of a sudden in May, I was terminated, and it takes 10 years to get vested, where you're able to get pension. So it just so coincidentally happened that 9.5 years, I was terminated. So I had to go back and talk to the manager, who I thought was fair, to let him know, the injustice that went on. And so I thank God today for his willingness to really look at the situation and make things right. So I was out for a week, I was reinstated, and I had the opportunity to bump, people with less seniority than me. So it made things right. And then I was able to work from then until retirement in November of 2007. So I ended up getting 32 years in at that place. That was my worst. That was my worst experience with, I guess, racism. That was the worst.
Like, could you describe the role of your church in, like, that your African American church in your community?
Yes, we try to build people, and we believe in God. And that's what the church is all about. It's a body of believers who come together for worship and praise and thanksgiving and that sort of thing. But it goes farther. It goes beyond that. We try to build people into being the people that God would want, that God would be proud of. We try to build up our young people. There's a lot going on with our young people, and a lot of our young people are in trouble. We're trying to keep them out of the system. We're trying to keep them out of jail. So we're trying to build them up to let them know that there is a higher power. There's somebody that can give us strength and the courage to say no to some things that we should be saying no to, and some yes to some things that we're saying yes to. So we try to build people. We try to build young people. We try to build adults to like each other, to love each other, and to try to teach people that this is what it's all about, and this is what Christ came for, that he cared for all people, and that's the way we ought to be as a church. And so we try to instill that into our worship service. We try to instill that into our preaching, into our teaching, and also into our everyday walk of life. We try to teach that everybody is somebody, and that God loves everybody, and that's how we go about it.
Like, how long have you been with Bethel AME Church, and, like, how come you chose to, like, go to that church?
Okay.
Like, was there something special about it?
Okay. I was appointed there in October. Matter of fact, it was on October 31st was the first day I spent at Bethel. I was appointed there by the bishop of the AME Church. I'm a member of the AME Church and the AME Connection, and when I accepted the call to preach, one of my vows was to go where I was sent. And so I was kind of sent to Bethel. Prior to Bethel, I served at Coppin Chapel AME Church in Fort Dodge for 24 years. We commuted 105, 110 miles each way. We commuted every Sunday. And then it came to the point where there was a need for somebody at Bethel. And so I told the elder I wasn't really out there canvassing for a bigger church or a better church or anything like that. But I told him, if you need somebody there, I'll do my best if you want to, place me there. And so he appointed me there. The bishop appointed me there at the annual conference. So I'm a part of the AME Church, and I go to wherever I'm sent.